Here is the deal on the table this week. An entire neighborhood. 40 homes on a quiet loop of asphalt, porches, mailboxes, bikes in the driveways. And the strange part is this: not one of those homes will be yours. The people living in them own them outright. You are buying the ground underneath, the pipes below it, and the right to charge every home for staying. Now hold two facts side by side. This is the cheapest housing in America, and it throws off some of the most dependable rent in American real estate. That should not be possible, and the explanation is this entire video. Because here is the first thing to know: the name is a lie. A mobile home is mobile exactly once, on the day it arrives. Moving one again runs $3,000 to $20,000 depending on size and distance, and a typical job in 2025 cost about $8,500, which for an older home can rival the value of the home itself. So the overwhelming majority never move again, and $1,500 to move the product that was named for moving. By the end of this breakdown, you will know what you are actually buying when the deed says park, what a 40-lot property leaves in your pocket once the bank is paid, and why the thing buried under the grass can quietly erase 5 years of profit. If numbers like these are your idea of a good time, subscribe. It is free, and a new business gets taken apart here every week. Begin with the sticker. In the first half of 2025, the median park changed hands at roughly $45,000 per space, according to market data from Northmark. That one number hides three very different purchases. At the bottom sits the small rural park, 30 or 40 lots, gravel roads, its own well and septic system, often priced from a few $100,000 to $1 million and change. Cheap, for reasons we will get to. In the middle is the stabilized park, 70 to 150 lots, paved streets, city water and sewer, tenants who own their homes. Depending on the market, that is a $2 to $8 million check, and brokerage guides put capitalization rates there around 5.5% to 7%. The institutional parks above that trade at 4.5% to 5.5%, and the national average sits near 6% as of early 2026. One quick translation, because this whole business is priced on a single formula. A cap rate is the property's net operating income divided by its price. A park producing $120,000 a year at an 8 cap costs $1.5 million. The same income at a 5 cap costs $2.4 million. The safer the park looks, the more you pay for every dollar it earns. And on closing day, what you own is dirt, pipe, and pavement. Not one lot has paid you a dime yet. Now the invoices the listing forgot to mention. First, the park-owned home. Small parks often come with a handful of homes the seller bought to fill empty lots, and on the rent roll they look like a bonus. They are not. The moment you own the home, every roof leak, furnace, and soft floor is yours. Parks where tenants own their homes run operating expenses around 35 to 45% of gross rent. Load up on park-owned homes and you drift toward apartment territory, 50% and beyond. Those are shares of gross revenue, before the bank sees a cent. Second, the empty lot. A vacant space earns nothing, and filling it means buying a home, hauling it in, and setting it, which can burn $10,000 or more before the first rent check. Vacancy here is not just expensive to carry, it is expensive to cure. Third, the paperwork that reprices itself. Property taxes reassessed off your purchase price, and insurance that climbs in any county with weather. And fourth, the biggest one, is sleeping under the grass, and it gets its own chapter. Cheap parks are rarely cheap, they are just billed later. So where does the money actually come from? Here is the reveal, and it is the thesis of the whole business. You are not in the housing business, you are a land lease company. The tenants own the roofs, you own the only ground those roofs can afford to stand on. Strip it down to a clean sheet of paper. Imagine a parking lot where every car pays $450 a month, and driving out the gate costs $8,500. How many cars leave? That is the entire model, translated. Now run it on one real customer. Across most of the country, a lot rents for $300 to $600 a month, past $1,000 in parts of California. Call it $450. Your tenant pays $5,400 a year for the dirt, and she handles her own roof, furnace, and kitchen, because the home is hers. Your cost on that lot, her share of the roads, water lines, taxes, and the manager, runs maybe $150 to $200 a month. Well over half of what she pays is profit before debt, and that is gross to net stated plainly. And when the renewal letter adds $50, her choices are to pay $600 more a year or spend 5 figures moving a house. The increase sticks. Scale it up. A 50-lot park at $450 a month grosses $270,000 a year when full. Take off 40% for operations and you hold roughly $160,000 in net operating income before the mortgage. An apartment building with the same gross would eat half or more in expenses. Plus every toilet, every turnover, every 3 a.m. phone call. The tenant owns the roof. You own the reason it stays put. The lever under all of it is turnover, or the absence of it. An apartment tenant leaves with a weekend and a moving van. A park tenant leaves by writing a 5-figure check or abandoning her largest asset, so most stay a decade or more, while lot rents across the industry grind upward at 4 to 6% a year in strong markets. No churn, no make-ready raises that stick.
He owned industry said this out loud exactly once and has regretted it since.
Frank Rolfe, one of the largest park owners in the country, described the business to Bloomberg as a Waffle House where the customers are chained to the booths. He maintains the line was taken out of context. The numbers maintain it was accurate. The professionals pull 2 more levers. They submeter the utilities, so every home pays its own water, instead of the park eating the leaks, and they hunt for tired mom-and-pop parks that have not raised rent in a decade. Then mark them to market in 2 or 3 letters. Want to see what patience does here? Sam Zell took Equity Lifestyle Properties public in 1993 with 41 properties. By the end of 2023, the company's own annual report put its total return since that day at over 7,000%, several times what the S&P 500 managed over the same stretch. The model in one sentence: stuck customers times small raises times decades on land nobody is allowed to build more of. So if the customers cannot leave, why do owners still bleed? Watch the waterfall. Water comes first. Until those submeters go in, you pay for every running toilet and every invisible leak in the park, and a bad one can hide underground for months. Then collections, because this is a paycheck-to-paycheck customer base, and an eviction is slow, ugly, and locally famous. Management takes 5 to 10% of gross if you do not live nearby. Taxes and insurance reprice every year. The park-owned homes you inherited quietly convert rent into repair bills. None of these kill the business. They shave it from spectacular to solid, and they punish absentee owners first. Water you cannot see is money you cannot keep. Now the chapter 1 promised, the one under the grass. The fundamental problem is age. Most parks were laid out in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and the original plumbing is still down there. Undersized water lines, brittle sewer pipe, and in rural parks a private well, a septic field, sometimes the park's own miniature treatment plant. When a city water park breaks a line, you call a plumber. When a private system fails, you are suddenly a utility company answering to state regulators and the EPA, and repairing or replacing a private sewer system can run into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. That is not a maintenance item. That is your down payment, dug up and reburied. It is exactly why city utility parks trade at premium prices, while well and septic parks sit in the 8 to 10 cap bargain bin. The discount is the pipe. Then there is the second problem, the longer-term one. Politics. Everything that makes this cash flow durable, the stuck customer, the raise that sticks, is now drawing legislation. New York capped lot rent increases at 3%, 6 with justification. More than 100 California cities and counties run rent stabilization rules on parks. 21 states now give residents a shot at buying the park when it sells, and a nonprofit network called ROC USA has helped residents buy roughly 350 communities already. Ask Haven Park Communities how the spotlight feels. The firm grew to more than 80 parks and 22,000 home sites in under a decade. After rent hikes of 24 to 69% at its Iowa parks in 2019, it drew a public letter from Senator Elizabeth Warren calling the practices predatory, and one resident tallied a 97% increase in under 6 years. That same year, a late-night host spent an entire segment on this industry, and it was not a celebration. What traps your tenant is exactly what summons the legislature. Step back, because one question is still open. Why would anyone pay millions for old pipes under a gravel loop? Scarcity, engineered by accident. There are roughly 43,000 mobile home parks in the United States, and the count only moves one way. Analysts at Green Street tallied about 10 new communities built in the past 2 decades, while existing parks close at roughly 1% a year, sold and redeveloped into whatever the city council likes better. A new park proposal gets treated at the zoning board like a landfill application. The neighbors win every time. So picture a county that will only ever issue 40 taxi medallions and shreds one every year. Any medallion in that county is a good business, even a dented one. That is a mobile home park. The competition is not coming because almost no zoning board in the country will approve it. Meanwhile, the demand side is the entire American affordable housing shortage. Manufactured homes are the country's largest pool of unsubsidized affordable housing, which is why the buyer lists now include names like Blackstone and Carlyle, tracked deal by the private equity stakeholder project. When that kind of money starts buying gravel roads, the gravel is not the point. Nobody is building your competition, and somebody is demolishing it for you. So what do you actually make? Two honest scenarios. Scenario 1, the owner-operator. You buy a 40-lot park in a secondary market at an 8 cap. Lots at $425 a month. Tenants own their homes, city utilities. That is about $204,000 in gross rent, and, after 40% expenses, roughly $122,000 in net operating income. The price lands near $1.5 million. Put about $400,000 down, and the bank's payment eats a bit under $100,000 a year. What stays in your pocket is $20,000 to $30,000, call it 6 to 7% cash on cash, while the loan quietly pays itself down. Modest. But watch the machine work. Raise lot rent by $50 over the next couple of years, and gross grows by $24,000 a year, net by roughly $14,000, and at these cap rates the appraisal climbs by close to $180,000. You built nothing. The scarcity did the lifting. Scenario 2 is the same math times 10. 400 lots, professional managers, submeters everywhere, cheaper institutional debt. The per lot margin is identical. The multiplication is the business. The lot rent pays the mortgage. The scarcity pays the retirement. And who actually got rich here? The consolidators, every time. Zell's company became one of the best performing real estate stocks of its generation. Sun Communities assembled well over 100,000 sites. And the Waffle House man himself, Frank Rolfe, built, with his partner Dave Reynolds, a portfolio of roughly 11,000 lots across more than 160 parks, worth north of $500 million. None of them outmargined the mom and pops, they outmultiplied them. The margins were never the secret, the multiplication was. Time to fold it all up. You buy the dirt, not the doors. The rent sticks because leaving cost $8,500. And the two real threats are a pipe you cannot see and a law you cannot stop. If you keep one rule from this breakdown, keep this one. You are not buying the homes. You are buying the fact that they are stuck, and every number in this video is just that sentence wearing a spreadsheet. Whether you want to be the person signing those renewal letters is between you and the mirror. Which business should get priced out next? Leave your pick below, then hit subscribe. This channel prices one of these every week, and yours could be next.